जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवारधारी जय जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय जय यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन हे यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदा जमुना तीरावन चारी यमुना जमुना तीरावन चारी यमुना जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा जय गोपी जनवल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय जय यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदा जमुना तीरा बनचारी यमुना जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Nittai Gaura Haribol, 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 Gaura Haribol, Nittai. श्रील प्रभुपाद की हरिनाम संकीर्तन की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Canto 11, Chapter 3, Verse 2. नानुतृप्ये जुषन् युष्मान् वचो हरिकथामृता संसार तापनिस्तप्तो मर्त्यस्तत्तापभेषजम् नानुतृप्येजुषन् युष्मा वचो हरिकथामृता संसारतापनिस्तप्तो मर्त्यस्तत्तापभेषजा नानुतृप्येजुषन् युष्मा वचो हरिकथामृतम् संसारतापनिस्तप्तो मर्त्यस्तत्तापभेषजम्। Please. Nanu tripe jushan yusma vacho harikathamritam samsarataapanistapto martyastattapaveshajam. Nanu tripye jushan yushma vacho harikathamritam samsarataapanistapto martyastattapaveshajam. Nanu tripye jushan yushma vacho harikathamritam samsarataapanistapto martyastattapaveshajam. Word to word translation in purport. The disciples of His Divine Grace A. Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. No anutripye, I am not yet satiated. Jushan, engaging. Yusmat, vachaha, in the words. Harikatha, of the topics of the Supreme Lord. Hari. Amritam, the nectar. Samsara, of material existence. Tapa, by the misery. Nistapta, tormented. Martyaha, a mortal human. Tattapa, of that pain. Bheshajam, the medical treatment. Translation. Although I am drinking the nectar of your statements about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, my thirst is not yet satiated. Such nectarian description of the Lord and His devotees are the actual medicine for the conditioned souls like me, who are tormented by the threefold miseries of material existence. Purport. According to Sridhar Swami, one may argue that since the symptoms of a pure devotee of the Lord have already been elaborately described, one can perfect his life by advancing to the platform mentioned in these previous words, and there is no need for further questions. But Harikathamritam, topics about the Lord and His devotees, are so pleasing and beautiful that one cannot give up hearing them, even after spiritual liberation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this connection, has quoted the following words: Atmaramascha munayo nirgrantha piurukrame kuruvanti ahetu kim bhaktim ittham bhuta guno hari. Those who are self-satisfied and unattracted by external material desires are also attracted to the loving service of Sri Krishna, whose qualities are transcendental and whose activities are wonderful. Hari, the personality of Godhead, is called Krishna because he has such transcendentally attractive features. Material medicine is not desirable once a disease has been cured, but on the absolute platform, the means and the end are not different. So chanting and hearing the glories of Lord Krishna are both means and the end of transcendental bliss. King Nimi said to the sages, "You are all great saintly persons absorbed in love of Godhead. Therefore, although you will speak about Maya or illusion, the conclusion will undoubtedly be Krishna consciousness. Please do not think that you have already explained everything to me. The intoxicating nectar of your instruction has left me more eager than ever to hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. King Nimi was also a great devotee of the Lord. Otherwise, there would have been no question of his personally conversing with such exalted living entities as the 9 Yogendras. But as a humble Vaishnava, he considered himself an ordinary conditioned soul covered by material designations. Thus he showed his eagerness to understand the actual nature of Maya in order to be safe from her future attempts to place him in the burning fire of material existence. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsa Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Shahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Shadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Sri Vishakham Vitamsa Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurti Vishe Namah. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Nilachala Nivashaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadravyam Jagannathaya Te Namah. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I sincerely beg blessings from all the devotees. Practically, I have no good preparation, neither any good intelligence, so that I can speak something on Srimad Bhagavatam for my own purification and encouragement in my devotional service and for the pleasure of devotees. Hare Krishna. Hindi, English. So we are seeing 11th canto, where King Nimi is asking different questions to Navayogendras, And Navayendras have answered some question and some more questions they are going to answer. I'm just reading the yesterday's words. King Nimi said, "Now we wish to learn about the illusory potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Vishnu, which bewilders even great mystics. My lords, please speak to us about this subject." And in this today's words, although I am drinking the nectar of your statements about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, my thirst is not yet satiated. Such nectarian description of the Lord and His devotees are the actual medicine for the conditioned souls like me, who are tormented by the threefold miseries of material existence. So, in this verse, King Nimi is basically sharing his experience that how hearing about the glories of the Lord is such nectarian. We find in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, there is a verse comes which defines the glories of Bhagavatam as tapotraya unmulanam. What is the beginning of the verse? Tapotraya unmulanam. Second verse. Dharma projito kaitavo atro paramo nirmacharanam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapotraya unmulanam. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamani Krite Kimba Paririshwara. So, which describes, and the next verse it is telling Nigama Kalpataru Galitam Phalam Sukhamukadam Rata Dravasham Yutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhraho Rasika Bhubi Bhavakaha. So, these two beautiful qualities of Srimad Bhagavatam has been described in these two verses. Second verse, we are focusing on some aspect what is described in these two verses. So, second verse is describing about Tapotrayo Unmulanam. Is telling that simply by hearing Bhagavatam, that this three tapa, what has been described in Vedas, that ki Adibhotik class, Adidavik class, Adhyatmic class. Major is due to body and mind, major is due to other living entities, and major is due to natural disaster. So as soon as you start hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Tapotraya Unmulanam. Unmulanam means basically it removes from the root practically. That is the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, which also here Nimi Maharaj is speaking, that this is the actual medicine for the conditioned souls like me. That is his experience. He is not speaking some philosophy. He is telling that this is actual medicine, this is his feeling. Another verse in Bhagavatam is defines Bhaba Oshadi Nibrita Tarsir Upagiyamana Bhaba Oshadi Tat Manobhiramat. Same to experience of that difference. Other devotees are explaining that this is the medicine for the living entity, those who are suffering in this material world. This is the experience. Even Kulasakara Maharaj is explaining the same thing in his prayers. I don't remember the words, where he is telling, actually hearing about the glories and his devotees is the medicine for all of us. The living entity in this material world, trying to be happy, trying to find happiness again and again from different sources. Brahmanda Brahmite, he is practically going up and down, trying to find some little happiness in this material world. Because he is naturally Anandamaya Vyasat, because he is naturally pleasure seeking for pleasure. So he is looking for happiness. But because of this Bhaba Roga, this material identification or the ignorance of about the one's own identity, because of which he is unable to get happiness, rather he is suffering. Whatever endeavor he is doing, Dukkha Oshadam Tadapi Dukkham, Prahlad Maharaj is bringing out. Whatever endeavor he is doing to get happiness and remove the misery, Atyantika Sukha Prabriti, Atyantika Dukha Nibriti, what Vedas define, that the endeavor of the living entity is for what? To increase his happiness more and more, and atyantika dukha nibriti, and to reduce his unhappiness. But in this endeavor, what the living entity gets? Only the misery. Dukkha osadam tadapi dukkham, Prahlad Maharaj is defining that the medicine what they are trying to find out to solve the misery what they are going through is the cause for becoming more miserable. What a paradox the material world is arranged, that the living entity is trying to get happiness and trying to find some cure for his disease, but it increases his disease. Very alarming situation for the living entity, isn't it? But mercifully, Srimad Bhagavatam, mercifully the Supreme Lord and his representative has given us this Bhagavatam practically. By Srila Prabhupada mercy, practically. We were born in India, practically we had no idea that such literatures are available in our Vedic tradition. But by Srila Prabhupada mercy, he has given us this Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the more we read this literature, the more we realize practically that the solution for all of our misery, all of our problem has been described in this Bhagavatam. So, Nibrita tarsir upagiyamanam bhabosati tatro manobhirama. These are the two beautiful qualities which has been highlighted in this verses also by Nimi Maharaj. One quality is that your miseries of material existence, the bhavaroga will go out, or the actual medicine for the conditioned soul. And the second is that these are manobhiramat. It is very nectarian and pleasing to the mind. Such nectarian description of the Lord and His devotees are actual medicine for the conditioned soul like me. So here in the purport, the proper disciples are bringing out that how the nectar what has been described in these verses is not of this anything of this material world. They are telling that although that Nimi Maharaj had asked some questions and Navagandra had answered, now still Nimi Maharaj is telling, now kindly speak me about the illusory energy. Now the proper disciples are writing that already the description of the pure devotee is done. What is the symptoms of a pure devotee has been done. So they are writing that then why do you need to become to understand what is the nature of the illusory potency? What is the need practically? You know the positive aspect, what it is about. What is the need? So they are giving argument. They are telling this is the conversation between the devotee, two devotees are so nectarian that it doesn't give us there is no satiation in this conversation. That is the reason Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita, Macchitta madgato prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. See, this description or the conversation between two devotees is so nectarian, it is practical the highest nectar what can a devotee experience by discussing Krishna Katha with each other. Macchita madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantischa mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So this principle the proper disciples are bringing out here, that Hare Kathamritam, topics about the Lord and His devotees are so pleasing and beautiful that one cannot give up hearing them. One cannot give up practically. Such nectarian, that is the experience of all the devotees. Even we find in the Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj himself is telling to Sukadeva Goswami, isn't it? He's telling that ki, oh Sukadeva Goswami, when I think, if I'm not wrong, in 10th canto he's speaking these words, that ki kindly describe the glories of Krishna, the Supreme Lord Krishna, in a very elaborate way. Don't describe it in a very short manner. You should not think that ki I am tormented by the thirst. Yes, because of this same thirst, I committed this, being disturbed by this thirst, I committed an offense to a great sage. But by the description of your glories of the Supreme Lord, it is so nectarian that I am drinking it again and again, and I am satisfied by this drinking practically. Please describe it again and again, more elaborately, the glories of the Supreme Lord. That's the experience of all the devotees. Rupa Goswami is telling that ki, let me have thousands of ears to hear your glories. Let me have thousands of tongues to chant your holy name. So practically all the great Vaishnavas has the same experience of hearing and chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord. And here proper disciples are bringing out that these glories of the Supreme Lord are not of this material world. It's not of something just pleasing. Sometimes some music is pleasing, or some description of some people's action may be very pleasing. But the proper disciples are telling that this is not of this transcendental world, and they are quoting these words, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has quoted, that Atma Ramascha Munayo Nirgrantha api urukrame kuruvanti ahetukim bhaktim itham bhutva guno hari. Those who are self-satisfied and unattracted by external and material desires are also attracted to the loving service of Sri Krishna. This is we find in this, all this 4 Kumaras, Chatus Kumara. They were initially, in Bhagavatam describes, they were initially what? They were self-satisfied. They were Brahman platform. They are Brahmabadis basically. But at one point of time, when they got the fragrance from the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, they become attracted. Because Krishna is so attractive. Krishna means all attracted. What Srila Prabhupada explains again and again. Sarva akarsayani. So his glories, his pastimes, his form, his fragrance from his lotus feet is so attractive that it could attract even the Brahmabadis practically. Anybody may be a Brahman platform. We find even this Sukadeva Goswami also, he describes where he tells, I think he tells to Parikshit Maharaj, that when he was born, when Sukadeva Goswami was born, he was on the platform of, he was Brahmabadi. He was self-satisfied. Actually, he didn't want to take birth only. Why? He was afraid that he will be bound by this material world. But by the prayers of Vyasadeva and assurance from the Supreme Lord, he decided to come out of the womb of his mother. Isn't it? So after he came out of his mother, and he came out at the age of 16, that itself is so incomprehensible for the modern man. That how can a 16-year-old boy can come out of the mother's womb? And after he comes out, he just walks. He just walks out practically. He doesn't stay in the home. And he describes his own, how he got attracted to the glories of the Supreme Lord. He describes that when he was passing through the forest, he heard that 2 people were describing the glories of Krishna, who were disciples of Vyasadeva. And which verse they were describing? Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam. This verse they were describing that Krishna is so merciful, the Supreme Lord is so merciful, the Putana who came to practically feed poison to the Supreme Lord, the Lord is so merciful just because he accepted the milk from the breast of Putana, he gave him the post of Dhatri in the spiritual world. And that glories of the Supreme Lord become so attractive to this personality, Sukadeva Goswami, that he goes and asks to these people that from where you learned such beautiful glories of the Supreme Lord. And then they describe that we learned from your own father, Vyasadeva. So then Sukadeva Goswami comes back to his own father and learns the whole Bhagavatam. So this is the glories of the Supreme Lord, that it can attract anyone and everyone. It can attract practically anyone and everyone if you hear attentively. Srila Prabhupada, when he goes to America, what was his faith in the, the description of the pastimes of the Supreme Lord? He tells in this Markandeya Bhagavat prayers, he tells that all these people, those who are in this Western world, they are completely covered over by the mode of passion and ignorance. Rajas, Tamas, Sabai Achanna, Guner Sabai Achanna. Everybody is practically, this is all of our position, that everyone is practically affected by more or less mode of passion and ignorance. But he has so much faith that if they hear, he tells in the Markandeya Bhagavat, if they hear these glories of your pastimes attentively, it can remove the disease of this material existence. So much Prabhupada had faith in this, and he went and did some miracle. He was just giving class. And if you go and hear these initial classes of Srila Prabhupada, I was surprised that he's not giving some just basic. He sometimes speaks of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. I was wondering, they might not be knowing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or anything, but Prabhupada simply glorifying the Supreme Lord. Yes, he was speaking the basic things also, but he was simply glorifying. Because he had full faith, if simply they hear attentively about the glories of the Supreme Lord, this Bhavaroga will go away. He had so much faith, practically. That's what he understood the medicine for all of us, and he applied it and he showed us that simply by hearing about the glories of the Lord, the Bhavaroga will go away. And he quotes Srinavatamso Katha Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtana Rudentasto Avadrani Vidunati Shuhritam Shatam Nashta Prayesha Avadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Shevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. He quotes this verse to prove his claim that yes, simply by hearing the glories of the Lord, all our anarthas will go away. Nashta prayeshu avadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. If you hear this Bhagavatam regularly, if you hear this glories of the Supreme Lord or his devotees regularly, then the bhavaroga which is there within our heart will go away. Even Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita that 7.1 Bhagavad Gita is speaking, Maya Sakta Manopartha Yogam Yunjana Mada Asraya Asamsayam Samagramma Yatha Gyasasi Tasrunu. He's telling, if you just hear what the knowledge what I am giving attentively, you will asamsayam, you will be freed from all the doubts what the living entity has, what he is doing in this material world, what is his actual identity, where will he go after death, how to come out of this bondage of this material existence. Everything he will be come out simply by hearing this message. So this is the experience of all the devotees. If we can take this experience and apply in our life, we will practically elevate, we can come out of our own bondage of this material existence. So then, in the purport, Nimi Maharaj is being telling that yes, although I am speaking about the Although I'm asking you the question about the illusory energy, what is the nature of this illusory energy? The question what is asking that we wish to learn about the illusory potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Vishnu, which bewilders even great mystics. My lords, please speak to us about this subject. So what he is telling that he kindly speak about the illusory potency. And the proper disciples are writing in the purport that although you will speak about Maya or illusion, the conclusion will undoubtedly be Krishna consciousness. How clear is that? Sometimes we think that describing about the Maya, like it becomes sometimes dry. But the great devotees, their description about the material energy is completely in connection with the Supreme Lord. They don't see anything separately from the Supreme Lord. That's the reason Nimi Maharaj is telling, yes, your description about the illusory potency is not just about the illusory potency. It's about in relation to the Supreme Lord. That's the reason it's being told. Conclusion will undoubtedly be Krishna consciousness. So please do not think that you have already explained everything to me. The intoxicating nectar of your instruction has left me more eager than ever to hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the last paragraph, Nimi Maharaj the proper disciples are writing that although he was well aware, although he was a great devotee, how? Because he was able to converse with such great devotees, Nava Yogendras. But being a humble Vaishnavas, practically, he was quoting. But as a humble Vaishnava, he was basically asking them how to come out of it so that he is not entangled in the future. So, I had just thought, but anyhow the time is over. I had just thought that because yesterday was Sanatana Goswami's disappearance day, to discuss something about the Sanatana Goswami, because when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came up, Chaitanya Bhagavat describes, Vrindavan Das Thakur described in Chaitanya Bhagavat, he came up with so many of his associates, and through different of his associates, he exhibited or he exemplified different qualities. So through Sanatana Goswami, he exemplified this humility that has been described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we will just read Chaitanya Charitamrita, some little verses, then we will end. We find that how this Rupa and Sanatan was there in Ramakeli, and then they were writing letters after letters. Nearby 2 to 3 letters they wrote to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that will kindly come and deliver us this from this entanglement. They were serving Nawab Hussain Saha, who was a governor of Bengal at that time, who was a Muslim governor. And they were feeling very much, they were repenting so much that we have been entangled in this service. Not only they were repenting, even their father was repenting that our son somehow has been entangled in this government job. See, they were prime minister, but the father was repenting. What a Vaishnava. So, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were writing letters and letters to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had replied only once to their letter. He had written once. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan, in his first attempt to go to Vrindavan, instead of taking the taking the direct route to Sri Vrindavan Dham, he takes a off route to go to Vrindavan. Why? To give only mercy to Rupa and Sanatan. And he comes to a beautiful place called as Ramakeli. He comes to a beautiful place called as Ramakeli, where Rupa and Sanatan was staying there. And Mahaprabhu had a beautiful dancing kirtan. And when Rupa Sanatan hears that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has reached Ramkeli, they decide to go and meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And at night, they decide in disguise to go and take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now we'll just read Chaitanya Charitamrita after this. Yes. ঘরে আসে দুই ভাই युकति करिया प्रभु देखी बारे चले बेश लुकाइया. After returning to his residence, Dabir Khas and his brother deciding after much consideration to go see the Lord incognito. अर्धरात्रे दुई भाई आइला प्रभु स्थाने प्रथमे मी लीला नित्यानंद हरिदास शने. So thus in the dead of night the two brothers Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik, these were the names of Rupa and Sanatan before they were initiated, went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu incognito. First they meet Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. तार दुई जन जना इला प्रभुर गोचरे रूप साकार मलिक आइला तुमा देखी बारे. Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur told Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that two personality, Sri Rupa and Sanatana, had come to see him. दुई गुच्छ तृण दुहे दशने धरिया गले वस्त्र बांधि पड़े दंडवत हइया. In great humility, both brothers took bunches of straw between their teeth and each binding a cloth around his neck, fell down like rods before the Lord. दैन्य रोदन करे आनंद विभल प्रभु कहे उठ उठ होइला मंगल. Actually, at that time, if you see, I was hearing one lecture where Maharaj is explaining that what was their position at that time. They were billionaires because Nawab Hussain Saha not only practically had employed them as the prime minister and the finance minister, practically he considered both of them as their brothers, and he shared practically his wealth with them, shared their wealth with them. So they were billionaires practically, they had so much wealth. We find when Rupa Sanatana retires from this government job, they were put all their wealth in 4 boats, if I am not wrong, and they were gold coins practically. Gold coins were valuable at that time. It's not that it was not valuable, because we find that for 8 gold coins, Sanatana Goswami was about to be killed in the hilly tract of land. In the hilly land, that Motichur, or exactly that place where he was about to be killed when he was going to Vrindavan. But we find Sanatana Goswami gives 7,000 gold coins bribe to the jail keeper to come out of the jail. Now just imagine, 8 gold coins, somebody is ready to be killed, and the bribe amount what Sanatana Goswami gives to the jail keeper is 7,000 gold coins. Certainly anybody will be allured at this amount. Anyway, so they were billionaires. And not only they were billionaires, they were great learned scholars also. They were knowing so many languages, Persian languages, so many other languages they were knowing. And they were in high post, prime minister and finance minister. They were born in high Saraswat Brahman family. So from all the qualification, if you see, they were very glorious. But when they approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they took bunches of straw between their teeth and each binding a cloth around his neck, fell down like rods before the Lord. That was their humility. Upon seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the two brothers were overwhelmed with joy, and out of humility they began to cry. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked them to get up and assured them of all good fortune. Uthi dui bhai tabe dante trina dhari dainya kari stuti kare karo daya kari. The two brothers got up, and again taking straw between their teeth, they humbly offered their prayers with folded hands. Now what they are going to speak is really inconceivable. How they presented themselves, which exhibits their humility. জয় জয় শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য দয়াময় পতিত পাবন জয় জয় মহাশয়. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most merciful savior of the fallen souls. All glories to the Supreme Personality. Nicha jati, nicha sangi, kare nicha kaach, tumar agrete prabhu kahite basi laj. Telling, sir, we belong to the lowest class of men, and our associates and employment are also of the lowest type. Therefore, they were feeling so humble. What they are speaking? Therefore, we cannot introduce ourselves to you. They are telling, we can't even introduce ourselves to you. What is our position? We feel very much ashamed standing here before you. Mattulya nasti papatma naparadhi chakaschana parihare api lajjame kim brubhe purushottama. So this verse comes in basically Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which tells, dear Lord, the verse what is being spoken here is, dear Lord, let us inform you that no one is more sinful than us. Rupa Sanatana is speaking. Nor is there any offender like us. Even if we wanted to mention our sinful activities, we would immediately become ashamed. And what to speak of giving them up? Patita pavana hetu tomara avatar, amabai jagate patita nahiyar. The two brothers submitted, dear Lord, you have incarnated to deliver the fallen souls. You should consider that in this world there is none so fallen as us. Jagai madhai dui korile uddhara, taha uddharite srama nahila tumara. Rupa Sanatana is speaking, you have delivered the two brothers Jagai and Madhai, but to deliver them, you did not have to exert yourself very much. Brahmana jati tar nava dipe ghar, nicha seva nahi kore nahe nicher kurpar. The brothers Jagai and Madhai belong to the Brahmana caste. See, they also belong to the Brahmana caste. But what is the argument they are giving? And their residence was in the holy place of Navadip. They never served low-class persons, nor were they instrument to abominable activities. Sabek dostar hoye papachar, paap rasi dohe nama bhasai tumar. So they are telling, Jagai Madhai had but one fault. They were addicted to sinful activity. However, volumes of sinful activity can be borne to assess simply by a dim reflection of the chanting of your holy name. Tumar naam laya tumar korila nindana, sei naam hoila tar muktira karana. Jagai and Madhai uttered your holy name by way of blaspheming you. Fortunately, that holy name became the cause of their deliverance. What a mercy. Jagai Madhai hoite koti koti gun, adhamapa tita papi ami duijan. We too were millions and millions of times inferior to Jagai and Madhai. We are more degraded, fallen and sinful than they. Mlecha jati mlecha sebi kori mlecha karma, gro brahmana drohi sange amara sangama. Actually, we belong to the caste of meat eaters because we are servants of meat eaters. Indeed, our activities are exactly like those of the meat eaters. Because we always associate with such people, we are inimical toward the cows and brahmanas. The two brothers Sakar Malik and Davir Khas very humbly submitted to that due to their abominable activities, they were now bound by the neck and hands and had been thrown into the ditch filled with abominable stool-like objects of material sense enjoyment. No one within the three worlds is sufficiently powerful to deliver us. You are the only savior of the fallen souls. Therefore, there is no one but you. They are appealing to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu now. Ama uddhariya jadi dekhao nija bal, patita pavana nama tava se shafal. If you simply deliver us by your transcendental strength, then certainly your name will be known as Patita Pavana, the savior of the fallen soul. Let us speak one word that is very true. Plainly hear us. O merciful one, there is no other subject of mercy within the three worlds but us. We are most fallen. Therefore, by showing us your mercy is most successful. Let the power of your mercy be exhibited throughout the entire universe. So they goes on explaining like this, and by hearing their such humility, Mahaprabhu tells that my heart is practically breaking by seeing your humility. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has glorified Sanatana Goswami in many different places throughout the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Like, I'll just take 2 minutes maybe. So, like once when Sanatana Goswami had reached Varanasi, and Mahaprabhu was there in Varanasi, so Chandrasekhar Acharya was told by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu was living in Chandrasekhar Acharya's home, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells to Chandrasekhar Acharya, go and find out there is a devotee who is sitting outside your home and go and bring him. Then Chandrasekhar Acharya goes outside his home and finds there is no one devotee sitting. Then he comes back to tells to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that there is no one sitting outside, no devotee sitting basically outside the home. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells, no, go and see again. There is someone who is sitting. There is a mendicant who is sitting. Then when Chandrasekhara comes out and sees, then he sees, because Sanatana Goswami had travelled from Ramkeli to Varanasi from the forest path and practically had not eaten anything, and the hairs had grown. So he was looking apparently very shabby. So lots of hair, and he had not taken bath for so many days. So Chandrasekhar Acharya goes inside and tells to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that yes, there is a Muslim mendicant who is sitting outside the home. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells, go and bring him. And Chandrasekhar Acharya, naturally he goes outside and gets this Sanatana Goswami and brings him inside the home. And as soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sees Sanatana Goswami, he practically gets up from his seat and goes and embraces him. And Sanatana Goswami is telling that I am so contaminated practically. Why you are embracing me? So Mahaprabhu tells, he glorifying Sanatana Goswami is telling that just by touching your transcendental body, I will be purified. Other times also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling to that in Puri he tells to Sanatana Goswami, actually you are fit to be my guru. So in this many places actually Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is glorifying Sanatana Goswami, and he's showing us what is the stature of Sanatana Goswami. So it's a great Acharya. If in our life, if we can little appreciate their qualities, then our life will be successful. And Srila Prabhupada, by whose mercy, we were practically, I was hearing Radhanath Maharaj's one lecture, where Maharaj is speaking, although all of us are born in India, but none of us are practically known about Rupa and Sanatan. It's by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we have come to know about them. So you should be really grateful to Srila Prabhupada. And by his mercy, maybe we will be able to know about the glories of all these Acharyas. Then simply by hearing and following in their footsteps, we can perfect our life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki,